In the immortal words of Michael Cole, the streak is over. And let me be the first to congratulate our new NFL overlords, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, on finally slaying the beast. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Monday night, third and long podcast is on the air. I am the incomparable Shane Harris. Below me is the teacher extraordinaire. To my left is Mr. Oliver Butler Henderson. Conspicuous by his absence this evening is our beautiful baby Hope. OBH, do you want to shed some light on that one?
Yeah, so he messaged us this morning saying, right, sod it, I'm not coming on the show. I'm not talking about that shower of proverbial, I've had enough. I'm not doing it anymore. I can't do this. I've had enough. I mean, at least one Niners fan turned up. I mean, he's in a Lions jersey. But at least one Niners fan's turned up. You know, so we'll take that. That's a win.
No, we didn't even take a win.
Oh, it's a win that you're here, I should say.
Oh, thank you.
It's always a win when my buddy joins us. So, Phil, how are you? So which team is your favourite this week? Obviously, the Raiders lost again. The Niners lost. So you're jumping on the Lions train now?
I'm on the Lions train, baby. Whoop, whoop. I'm all the way to the Lions mobile, baby. I can't wait for the Super Bowl to be the Lions versus the Bills.
To be fair, I think that would actually be a good Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think so too, because it'd be the long-suffering Bills against the even longer-suffering Lions. You know, I think it'd be a great game for the neutral. Phil, can I just ask for a return of a favourite segment on the show? What is Phil eating this week?
Okay. I've got a massive... I've got a massive Toblerone that I've been slowly munching on. I mean, to be fair, this is like my cheat day today, for those who don't know. So since August, I've lost just shy of 2 stone. I've lost about 12 kilograms in weight. And it's just basically just from like starving myself, intermittently fasting, blah, 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 blah. So Monday is my cheat day. So
So does that mean that hockey jersey I gave you fits you now?
It fits nice, you know. It always fit nice. But like now it's the time of the year where it actually is properly. Yeah. For those who don't know, Shano bought me like a hockey jersey of his favorite team with his favorite player, which I absolutely love. And it was a little bit snug, but still really, really nice. And a while ago, you were like, "No, parents, do you want to just you can sell it if you want, because I've sold mine on eBay and it got a fair whack." I was like, going, why would I sell it? You bought it for me. Like I'm not selling your jersey, mate. You bought it for me with love. But yeah, as it gets colder, is it hockey season yet, or is it not yet?
Yeah. It's hockey season indeed.
Because the Bruins get absolutely destroyed.
So yeah, Monday is my cheat night from 8:30 onwards. So that's why sometimes, or if always, you always see me eat at late night. It's purely because, one, I get home from work really, really late, and after a certain time, I eat again. So that's kind of how I'm working on at the moment.
In other words, his lovely wife's away.
She's in Berlin. She's in Berlin for the next couple of days. So I mean, I right. So if the current Mrs. Perrins was with me last night. No, if Gemma was with me right now, I would have gone to bed at 9:30, or at least at the end of the first half with the 49ers game. And I would have woke up about like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning and just had a look at the scores and then rolled back over to sleep. But because she wasn't here last night, I stayed up till well after midnight to watch her. And it depressed the living daylights out of me. And to the point where when I was in school earlier, I literally had to pop some Pro Plus just to get me through my first lesson, because I was hanging. Yeah, not hanging as in because I drank, because I didn't drink, but like hanging because I literally couldn't get my thought process, because I was so tired and angry and vexed, and I woke up in a bad mood, and it was like, yeah.
Being a Niners fan is probably enough to drive you to drink, I expect.
Yeah, but like the mighty Newcastle players, like all three of Newcastle United's defenders are going to be England's back four going forward. So you got like Livramento, Lewis Hall, and Mark Gay. So like that's literally England's back three for the foreseeable future.
I'm missing something. When did Gay join the?
Oh, Gay's coming to Newcastle in January, mate. Like he's 100%. He is 100% coming to Newcastle. That's the reason why he's tanking so hard now, because he wants to come to Newcastle.
I found it so funny that Roy Keane's future son-in-law scored against Roy Keane's national team.
I know.
Who's that? For those of us who don't know, who's that?
Southampton centre-back. Harrison Biles?
Howard Bellis.
That's a great name.
Yeah, that's his surname. Great name. Talk about great name. Shall we talk about some American football?
Yes.
Because that's what we're here for, gentlemen. Believe it or not, this is an American football podcast, not what Phil's eating and normal football. Let's talk about some American football. Let's start with Thursday night. And has Jaden Daniels hit that rookie wall?
No, because he came across a team that was more experienced, better drilled, and know how to get it done at this level. I don't think it's a knock against where the Commanders are going. If we compare them to the Lions project or even the Texans project, with like young quarterbacks and moving in the right direction with a young team, I just think he just came across a juggernaut that is the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, we overlook the fact that the Eagles have a really good record this year, and they do look formidable when they're in the zone. Jalen Hurts looks really good again. Sirianni looks like he's literally balls to the wall. He's coaching as if this is his last year regardless. So no, I don't think Jaden Daniels has hit his wall, hit his ceiling. I just think they just came across a better opponent on the day. Now, maybe next time this year or 2 years' time, it's a different tale. But I don't think it's a knock against him or the Commanders. I just think it's why, they've just come across a good team and a team that's looking to compete and not just make the numbers.
Yeah, couldn't say more. Mr. Harris?
Yeah, I mean, as Phil's pretty much covered it, the Eagles are playing really well at the minute. They're currently 8-2. And I think anybody's going to be scared to go to the link to play him at the moment. Boys, I've got an honest question for you. Who, at the beginning of the season, would have thought that Saquon would be this good and this valuable to the Eagles based upon his injury record? He's 26 rushing attempts Thursday night, 146 yards, and another 2 touchdowns. He's playing out of his skin. He's playing fantastically well.
I think if you predominantly look at the two major free agency acquisitions in the running back market was Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry went to the Ravens and it suited his skill set to play in that scheme. It's the same with Saquon going to Philadelphia. It suited his skill set in that scheme. So I knew it would be a success. It's another an occasion of the Giants betting on the wrong horse in this particular race. They put all their money on I was thinking James instead of him. And I generally think, because I think Saquon is an amazing player, and he's younger than Derek as well. He's got less miles under his belt, and I just think him and Jalen Hurts are going to be in a I actually would love, in an alternative history, maybe the Super Bowl being the Eagles with their run offense against the Ravens and their run offense. That would be fantastic to watch. Hurts and Saquon against Lamar and Henry. Now, we know it wouldn't happen because Lamar doesn't turn up in playoff games, so that Super Bowl appearance would never happen.
Big games, apparently.
we could bash the Ravens in a minute, mate.
No, but to get back onto your point, Shano, he's doing exactly what I expected him to do. And again, the Eagles, like you said, 8-2. But no one's really talking about them. Do you not when you look at some of the records currently in the NFL, specifically in the NFC, because a lot of the talk is AFC related. When they talk about the Chiefs and the streak, the Bills, the Ravens to a degree, the rebirth of the Steelers, all these talks that's happening in the AFC, the NFC. When you go, all right, then we've got the Eagles are doing really, really well. The Vikings are still doing really, really well. And then you just look at the Cardinals they're on their bye. They're 6-5, but they're really, really surprising a lot of people. And I just think that the Eagles are low-key just really, really, really showing themselves off here.
Phil, you're going to get your wish December the 1st. Philadelphia are coming to M&T Bank Stadium.
There we go.
Yeah,
that's going to be a game. That will be game of the week. I'm not joking.
Just to make everyone aware, so that may be the second game of the day on Sky. Possibly, I imagine it will be.
More likely, yeah. Unless they flex. What day was it?
December the 1st.
They can't flex it now. It's too short notice.
Bills got Niners, I think, same day. So I don't know if that's going to be the late game or what.
No, oh my God, we're going to get absolutely arse raped there.
Yeah, I mean that Eagles O-line is outstanding still. You would have thought, okay, losing Jason Kelsey would have been a down hit, but yeah, if anything, that Eagles O-line is even better than it was last year.
I will say, I think the one negative is that other teams have caught on how to stop the tush push. So with that in mind, I think they've had to change how they do some of their short yardage plays, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like when it's like either like 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2 or whatever, they've changed how they approach that instead of just going tush push. Because after 2 years, you would expect teams to be able to kind of like put something together to be able to stop or limit that success. And we've seen it this season already with a couple of teams. I think did they play the Chargers? And the Chargers just stopped it completely. Like they didn't actually, it was one team that they tried it a couple of times and every time it was just denied. There was not one successful conversion of it. So I think they've,
It's the Buccaneers who stopped it.
The Bucs. There we go. I knew it was some sunny side team. I just think they've had to properly change their approach, and their swagger as well is a little bit different. Like last year, you thought that they had like an arrogance to them, and that was ultimately their downfall, because they were undefeated at one point until they came across a certain world famous San Francisco 49ers and who humbled them, and then they went on that losing streak where they then went one and done in the playoffs. But I think this time they have got a nice about business kind of attitude to them, if that makes sense, gents. Like, let's just get it done. We've got the weapons, let's get it done. Don't need to show off, let's get it done. Yeah.
Very professionally about them and getting it done and finishing it. Talk about teams that aren't getting it done. Baltimore.
Oh.
Hey, you chose the games of the week. You chose the predictions. You decided to put your Baltimore Ravens in there.
This is the biggest game of the season for me, right? And it'll never be Acrisure Stadium. It's barely Heinz Field to me. I can't call what I really want to call it, otherwise you'd be kicked off the air by the what they go the Ofcom. Sorry, couldn't get the words out.
It is Ofcom.
Yeah, so I know. So my beloved Baltimore Ravens went to that place in Pittsburgh yesterday to play the Steelers, and they came out on the end of an 18-16 loss. The story of this game really for Baltimore side was the turnovers. We turned the ball over on the first play of the game with Derrick Henry, and then we turned it over twice more as the game went on. Patrick Queen, I miss you, Patrick Queen. Yeah, let's say that. He was everywhere yesterday. I mean, as a Ravens fan, as goes down in the Ravens community, we all say that he wouldn't be anything if it was for Roquan Smith, because he wasn't anything special until we paired him with Roquan Smith. But it shows that he can do it on his own. Well, not on his own, but he can do it without Roquan Smith, who went off with an injury yesterday. I am terrified about that. He's the heart and soul of that defense, no question. Justin Tucker is, I don't want to use it. No. I'm not saying washed, right? He missed 2 kicks yesterday, which would have won us the game. In all honesty, if he kicked those kicks, be that as it may, he didn't. We lost. And the fact that the defense showed up this week, they were really, really good, holding the Steelers to 6 field goals. No touchdowns, nothing. Chris Boswell, 6 field goals. Everyone was right on the money. Fair play to him. There's an argument for him that he's the best kicker in the league now. I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't disagree with that. Let me just go over a couple of quick stats. Lamar Jackson, 16 for 33 at 207 yards. He got picked once, and he threw the ball to Zay Flowers for the only touchdown only passing touchdown of the game. Derrick Henry running for a touchdown as well. That's his 11th game in a row. Only the fourth player to do so since 1970, score in the first 11 games of the season. Russell Wilson, 23 for 36, 205 yards as well. He got picked off by Marlon Humphrey. There's not much else I can say. All I can say is I was despondent after this game yesterday. I hate these terrible towel twirling people. There's something else I have to add, but I've been dreading this all day. They were bad, but we were worse. And all I'm going to say now is on to the Harbor Bowl Part 2 Monday night.
I mean, it didn't look a good game whenever because obviously I had the Patriots on the Times. Whenever they flashed to like red zone and you were there, didn't look a good game. You read out the stats, completions weren't brilliant. Lamar, only 207 yards, and Russell Wilson only 206. So nothing really got going on either teams. Steelers are lucky they got Boswell to kick them. At least there was one reliable kicker on the field yesterday. I mean, we're saying that. I mean, we take the mick, but we are so used to Justin Tucker knocking him over no matter what he is. He's 411 from 460 in his 81 games. His career. He's pretty goddamn good. Let's put it that way. I mean, he doesn't miss very many at all. Obviously he holds the record and all that. Was there a windy stadium yesterday? Did it cause that? Saying that lots of kickers missed again yesterday.
I was speaking to one of the Ravens fans on one of the Ravens like Twitter pages and stuff, Facebook pages, and they were saying that apparently it's not him, it's the way the ball's been snapped, and it's the holder. There's issues with that. I don't know how true that is, but I'll tell you one thing, right? And this is a shoot, Philip. This is a shoot, right? Justin Tucker is like David De Gea in my eyes. No matter what he does, I will never see bad in him. I will never not believe in him. Come on, Ember, where we go?
Sorry, can you just say that thing again about the way that it's been held? Are we like having like an Ace Ventura conspiracy? Is it basically like like a Ray Finkel kind of thing where it's supposed to be laces out? Are we going to see like Justin Tucker go off the grid in a little bit and then come back years later as a woman? Like, is that what you're suggesting here?
I'm just going on what I've read. I mean, the only person that truly knows is Justin Tucker himself.
Have you got a new snapper, a new punter, a new holder? Is there anything new in there that's
different from last year? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. It's just, there's something not right. But maybe this is the downturn of Justin Tucker. Maybe it is. I mean, Matt Stover was a long-time kicker for the Ravens, and he was brilliant. But even he started sort of, going downhill at a certain point in his career. Maybe it is time to draft a kicker next year, maybe in the later rounds. Who knows? But as I said, he can't do no wrong in my eyes. But yeah, it's an unfortunate loss to our biggest rival. It breaks my heart to see all the Facebook discourse calling us ratbirds and everything else. And I had to hold every inch of my journalistic integrity not to say anything back. But yeah,
I did see you say something on Freddie's post.
I had to. I couldn't help it. But I didn't say anything bad. I just said, you were rubbish. We were worse. See you in week 16. That was it. Bad. Nothing offensive.
As I said to you yesterday, Lamar's a bad game. You lose. Which is the problem. And the problem is Derrick Henry didn't really turn up much to the game as well. He only had 65 rushing. He only had 13 carries. I know I asked you pre-show, but was there anything that's come out that said he was injured? Because why isn't he sitting there on that 2-point conversion? Why is he not sat there on that fourth down? It's really weird.
I don't know what happened there. Like you'd think you brought in Derrick Henry for those sorts of moments. It's like I reckon we brought Derrick Henry in not to have a repeat of the Chiefs game in the AFC Championship where you run the ball more. We probably would have won if we had Derrick Henry in the AFC Championship game. But at the end of the day, that's all done now. Harbor Bowl, Monday night, let's go. Speaking of games that are in the past, do you want to talk to us about your Pats yesterday, bud?
Good, bad, good. In that order. Sean McVay's come out and literally given the loving on Drake May. He is seriously impressed with Drake May, how well he is and how good he is. The way he moves in the pocket and extend plays and just little things like that, and like the little runs he does and all that, and the confidence he shows is something different. What killed us in that game was the second and third quarter, not stopping them, not stopping the run. Yes, great to see Barmore back, but we didn't have Dietrich Wise. That's a big loss as well. Get them both back, I think our run defense will be better. But yeah, I mean, our O-line went back to what it was 2-3 weeks ago. Yep, gone through. Hit our quarterback. Please, kill our rookie sensation. It's great. I don't mind that. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna bad mouth the team because the Rams are ahead of us where they are. They've got 2 genuine WR1s. They've got a great running back, a good O-line. They've got a good pass defense, a good run defense. But yeah, I mean, there is times in that game yesterday where you go, yeah, there's something with this team. It's building in the right direction. It's just some of the play callings of Van Peltbeek, and there was one where we were 4th and 1 on the goal line, or 4th and 1 on the goal line. No, let's kick the free. Let's go and kick the free to put us 10 zip up. Take the touch. Go for it. Go for the touchdown. Put 2 scores at 2 touchdowns ahead of them. Win the game that way. And then there's another one where he went in instead of just kicking the points. It's like you're making the wrong calls at the wrong time. And I don't know if that's Jared Mayo being a rookie head coach or is Van Pelt overruling him. I mean, Van Pelt worked wonders last year with Flacco in Cleveland, and they got that defense running. And I think it will work. He has brought a West Coast offense, and you can see bits of what Niners doing there with like the short gains and make the players make the yards off the catch. Pop did it a few times. Hunter did a couple of Austin Hooper. You got these players are getting massive yaks, which is what Niners do incredibly well. And you could see, like, okay, this defense looks different. And then you got Mondre, who's got his form back, and the team's looking good. Matt Stafford, I was just going, go on, throw a pick. You've normally thrown one a game. Oh, you've not thrown a pick this game. Matt Stafford played well. 295 yards and 27 attempts. Passer rating of 142. Kyron Williams, 86. But the Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, both over 100 yards. They just looked incredibly good, those two. And they are, when you have 2 genuine WR1s, you can't double team them both because someone's always going to be 3. And that was the issue. We're a couple of years behind, but it's so nice to see Kendrick back playing and scoring a touchdown with a smile in his face after not having any games last year. And we love a big man touchdown.
Yes, we do.
Oh, yes, we do. Go on then. Hit me with it, gentlemen.
Nothing really to say about it. And I mean, you've got Drake May. You forget you're not in win now mode. You're in rebuild, and you're rebuilding 100%. From the bottom up. You're rebuilding from the bottom up. So anything that he does positive is a result for you, whether you win, lose, or draw. Because let's be real, it's not your season this season. You're 3-8. Nope. Your season with Drake May is probably in about 4 or 5 years' time, maybe. This is the first piece of your new jigsaw puzzle, right? And you're going against the likes of a veteran in Matt Stafford, who was 18 for 27, 295 yards, almost 300 yards. And he threw 4 touchdowns, as you mentioned, And you've got the likes of Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, and you haven't even mentioned Tutu Atwell, who's also a very reliable, WR2. I think you acquitted yourselves well to only lose to a team like this by only 6 points. What do you reckon, Phil?
I thought you were in it for quite some time, to be fair. Like, it never felt like a blowout. I mean, we know how we feel. Well, we know how I feel about Stat Padford. Yeah. And I genuinely think he is the most overrated quarterback in NFL history. Like, I really, really genuinely do. And that the whole thing that they were saying, like he'd never thrown a touchdown against the Patriots. Was it at Patriots Field?
Foxborough, Gillette Stadium.
Well, I was going to say Foxborough, but I was like, what's it called at the moment? Is it Gillette Stadium? And then, yeah, so Patriots Field. And yeah, and I just really, really, really didn't want him to. But like, I mean, we've all kind of agreement here. Like your record speaks for itself. You're not in a win now environment. I think the rebuild will take time because it's been built. And it's been built for over 20 years. Like,
100%.
and if you want someone new to come in, it's going to take someone, a while to bring in their own ideas, their own personnel, their own mentality, their own, team building experience, who they want to bring in. And I think you've got like a really, really good young squad that, like with Washington, like what we've seen happen over time with Detroit, I think the Patriots could become likable again as opposed to being hated.
The big bad, like.
Yeah,
we've got a long way to repair the damage that Belichick put on that one.
Yeah. I mean, as long as
way.
you don't go around like deflating balls and spying on opposition teams, I mean, I think you guys will be fine. Like, it's the hate around the Patriots isn't as intense as it was under peak Belichick.
No, I mean it's now been passed on to Kansas City.
Oh my god! And I really hope they all burn.
I mean, we'll get to the game in a minute, but Phil, talk us through it. Talk us through.
Before I go on my little rant. All right, no, before you get your little popcorn bucket out, boys, genuinely, before I go and talk about it, can you just, from impartial / love it when the 49ers lose kind of like mentality that you two come from, what is the problem in San Francisco? Because you've heard me and Baby, you've obviously heard around the league when we've watched NFL news. What to you guys is the problem in San Francisco?
I'm gonna say momentum.
Okay.
Let me finish you on this one. Right, you had Brandon Ayuk sitting out literally to the 11th hour. You had a couple of other guys sitting out to 11th, which stuff will just start. And then you had McCaffrey out injured, and now you've had Kittle out injured. You've not had that you've not had all your shiny toys all at the same time, and then it's killing you. Now Bosa's gone down with a hip injury, am I correct?
Yeah.
It's a difficult situation, and you find that with teams. If your number one, number two, whatever goes down, your main weapons go down, you do start to struggle unless you pay them a stupid amount of money, and then they just cripple anyway because they can't hold it. So the money, like in Dallas. But I think that is your thing. I think it's people are starting to work out Kyle Shanahan's ideas now and how he does it.
Yeah.
I do think the office, the back at their head office or the back office where they sort out the contracts and get players to get them back in time, I think that is an issue. I mean, one thing about Belichick, you go, well, sorry, I'll trade you. If you're gonna not do it how we're gonna do it, well, I'll trade you.
Yeah.
And I don't think Lynch has got that mentality to go, no, we'll trade you. He won't do it. You had Ayuk ready to go to Pittsburgh. And they held on to him for literally as long as they humanly possibly could, so he could still play in week one. And I think it's detrimental. I know you do it week in or year in and year out, but I think this year it's cost you more than anything. And I do think people have worked out Kyle Shanahan. Now he plays his offense. I don't think it's anything bad. I think Brock Purdy has been playing incredibly well this season for what he's got.
Yeah, and you know what, that I said earlier, I went to bed angry and I woke up angry, and then upon reflection, and it was actually just talking to like some of my Lincroft Titans after school today about they were asking me saying what is it, and I don't think it's just necessarily one thing. I think Kyle Shanahan has a huge arrogance to him that I don't think gets talked about enough. He has made quite a lot of mistakes from a coaching point of view. From his days as being an offensive coordinator, the famous 28-3. We've been to 2 Super Bowls where we were leading in the Super Bowl, within the last 5 minutes, and we've choked both times. We've been to 2 NFC Championship games where we should have also won and we choked in the fourth quarter both times. I also think it is like a mixture of us ultimately now paying the price for trading away 3 first-round picks to get Trey Lance and then letting him go for peanuts. Because for 3 years we didn't have a first-rounder because of what we gave up.
Do you think there's a butterfly effect from that, do you?
Yeah, I honestly do. I mean, I think, history will look back on, this iteration of the 49ers as being top tier. Not like the Bill Walsh and the George Seifert, because they've won championships. But in terms of how dominant this era of Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch has been. But like all what ifs, like what all dynasties, I think it comes to an end. And, Kyle Shanahan's play calling is so terrifyingly predictable, and whose personalities is so terrifyingly predictable that since the start of the season, when Debo does his specialist jet sweep, he's not actually made any positive yards. I looked up the stats last night. So every time that play's been called this season, we've lost yards. His first 2 plays on nearly every drive is halfback draw straight up the middle or round the outside for a tackle. So, and it's both times it's Christian McCaffrey, who has been out for all the season and is rusty as hell. So, and then you always go for a passing play on third down, because often than not this season, we are massively needing to get there. And if it's not to Juwan, who, by the way, Juwan and Brock Purdy are an amazing partnership. Last year it was Ayuk. Obviously, in the offseason, Brandon decided to sit out and do bugger all. Juwan's become, Brock's WR1. And also think that, Brock Purdy's had a great season, but also having 3 different defensive coordinators in 3 years has crippled us.
I don't think that's the issue, because your defense is still pretty good.
No.
Like you said, I think your corners.
It's not like D'Amico had his number 1 defense last year. As much as like me and Baby gave Steve Wilkes a lot of crap, we still finished as the 5th best defense in the NFL this year, where I think it was 18th or 19th best defense. So our drop off, bear in mind, with the same personnel, more or less, the same personnel, has been terrifying. So I think it's a mixture of so many different things that ultimately, I think Kyle Shanahan will get one more season. Yes, but I think it'd be fair to say that he should be on the hot seat, because he's had a lot of money. I mean, the Yorks have spent money. Like, it's not like a penny pinching scenario. The Yorks have spent big. We've made Bosa one of the highest paid players. Ayuk's been one of the highest paid players. Debo is one of the highest paid players. Kittle is one of the highest paid. Like, Javon Hargrave, who me and Baby don't rate, is getting a fat wedge of money. Fred Warner, the best linebacker in the NFL, is getting paid, the highest for his position. So it's not like we're penny pinching. So a lot of this money has been spent with no championship.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
It is the fact that, right, when you look at, let's just compare KC, because they are pretty much there and there. Rosters are about the same. I think your roster's slightly better and the money's still spent the same. You've been to the same number of Super Bowls in the same number of time. They have 3 rings, you don't have any.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, that, everyone's now going to compare these teams who are regular postseason competitors. Yeah, well, how can they do it 3 out of 4 years? Possibly 4 out of 5 years if they go this year. Yet that is the problem. That is the issue. Mr. Harris.
Well, so since the Niners are now 5-5, let's run down the rest of the season just to see where they go from here. On this coming Sunday, they have the Packers at Lambeau.
I think we could win that, to be fair. I think it sounds daft, but like we do actually tend to have in recent years. I mean, saying that though, the Seahawks hadn't beaten us in 3 years and they turned us over the weekend. But like we do historically tend to beat the Packers despite how good they are.
just very quickly, I love Mike McDonald. He was our defensive coordinator last year. If he was still there this year, we'd probably have a much better record than we do at the moment. Anyway, moving on. After that, they traveled to Highmark Stadium to play the Bills.
Huge L. We're not winning that.
And then back to Levi's for the Bears.
Winnable. The Bears on a good team.
Rams, Levi then.
Winnable, but it's more difficult than it would normally be.
Dolphins at
we beat
Hard
the
Rock
Dolphins.
Stadium.
We beat the Dolphins.
What, at Hard Rock?
Yeah, we beat them last year.
Even when they beat
Then comes the game which may decide your season. Detroit at Levi's.
No,
I think it'd be tied, but I think Lions win.
I got a feeling Detroit are going to come in there and want some serious revenge. Look what Ben Johnson did against Dallas. Ben Johnson want excuse me. Choking. Ben Johnson wanted.
What, are you Kyle Shanahan over
there? Ben Johnson wanted every O-lineman to score a touchdown because of what happened. He will go there and literally draw up plays to humiliate you.
Yeah.
And the last game of the season then, which could decide your division, the Arizona Cardinals, Sunday, January the 5th.
See, that could be either Cardinals rest all their starters because they're going to wrap up the NFC West, which, I mean, their season, anyone could legitimately win the NFC West this year. And it's irritating as anything to bring it up because, like, our records are all so tight. I mean, the Cardinals themselves, they play the Seahawks next, then the Vikings, then the Seahawks again, the Patriots, the Panthers. Actually, looking at this, it actually looks like the Cards could actually win this quite easily.
It's a soft schedule there.
Like, I'm just looking at it going like, it could be difficult for them. Oh, they play the Seahawks. Okay, that could be. Oh, they play the Vikings. Okay. Oh, they play the Pats. Oh, then they go to the Panthers. Oh God, like it's like, oh my God, they probably are going to literally moonwalk into the playoffs for the first time in 20 years.
They got there a couple of years ago with Kyler.
Did they?
Yeah, I'm sure they've been to the playoffs once and they got blown out in the first game.
No, well, I mean, it's like Lamar. You sure it wasn't the Ravens?
No, the Rams won the Super Bowl. The Rams beat them in the wild card.
Did they? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, because then they beat us in the NFC. Yeah, okay. Wait, that couldn't have been it.
Sure, that was the last time Arizona made the playoffs.
No, that literally could, because then you've got like, I don't know. Okay.
I'm sure that's the last time.
I mean, you might be right. Genuinely, you might be right.
But yeah. Did we imagine that this division being literally a game and half a game between your four teams?
Not in this particular way. And I mean that by, yes, the Cardinals are leading it, but they're only 6-5 themselves. And then the Seahawks 5-5, the Rams 5-5, us 5-5. So it's a tight division, but without any clear. Because when you look at the standings in the whole of the NFL, and you look at like the 8-2 Eagles and the 9-1 Lions, and then you go, the 6-5 Cards. It looks real. I know that's just like the way that the conferences work in the NFL, and that's why we love. That's why we love it. But it's so tight without any real clear leader. Because I mean, it could happen next weekend where the Seahawks comfortably beat the Cardinals.
Exactly.
And they're 6-5, and the Cards are 6-6, and it's like, it suddenly becomes very, very different. So it's not a bad division by any means, but it's not a top tier one. It's not like where I see like the NFC North.
The NFC North is ridiculously good. 3 of the teams are anyway. You said there's no out and out leader. Have Buffalo put their hat into the ring to be the out and out leaders in the league at the minute?
I mean, they are 9-2 with the Chiefs being 9-1. The Bills are due their thingy games soon, aren't they? They're bye week.
The bye game is this week actually, because the game
Okay,
after
then.
that, as we've
All right,
mentioned previously, is against themselves.
So with that in mind, I mean, we said in weeks running up to this game that we fancied the Bills in this. Yes, in the NFL, your record speaks for itself, and them being 9-0, you know, it's a credit to them being the defending Super Bowl champions. But they were 9-0 without really playing well.
Yep.
And we can all agree that, and this is not me being anti-Kansas, even though I am. It's just me being factual.
Even though we are.
Don't know what
Like
you're about.
it's not me just being a hater. I'm just being very, very honest. Like their record was very, you know, it flattered to deceive, because I didn't think they actually were a good team this year. They've just happened to get the job done, and that's terrifying considering that they haven't turned it up yet. But you know, the Bills have so like with the Eagles, what I mentioned earlier in the NFC, the Bills seem to have that in the AFC, where you know they've got this like, what, we need to win. Like we've not got it done the last couple of years. You know, Baltimore are rebuilding, Pittsburgh are rebuilding, the Chiefs are still there. No, but look, no. Listen, sorry. When I say rebuilding for the Baltimore Ravens, let me say sorry. The Ravens are reloading, the Steelers are rebuilding, the Chiefs are still there. This is our time. Like, this has to be our time, because if we don't do it now, it's not going to happen with this iteration. And I just think that's kind of like their mindset, like with the Eagles. With theirs, you know, the NFC is nearly more or less open for them to take, with the exception of obviously the Lions. But that's kind of like what they're talking about, and I could see the Bills really, really, you know, getting this momentum now, and maybe even doing them over in the playoffs as well.
Yeah, that's their monkey on the back, isn't it? Kansas in the playoffs. Was it the last 4 years? KC
And I must,
beating the playoffs.
And I must like iterate this, and I won't interrupt again for a while. But that Bills defense did make Mahomes look very ordinary.
Oh, goodness.
Like every time they cut to it on because I was watching it via Red Zone. Every time they cut to him via Red Zone, he was just being swamped in the pocket. Like it was terrifying. Whilst when you see like Josh Allen stop back, he looked like he had time, he had poise, he literally had like more presence, whilst Mahomes was just getting swamped after play after play after play. I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, they still got points on the board, but it was just so consuming, and I want to say I felt sorry for Pat, but I don't. But
you didn't wish injury on him this week.
Oh no! Well, I keep saying the prediction has to happen at some point. It has to happen. Like him getting injured has to happen, because the law of averages, demands it.
It's happened to all the great quarterbacks.
It has to, because it has to happen to them, because if it's their story. We have to have a really good career. Then, boom, terrible injury knocks us back. Will we ever recover? Oh, we do. Oh,
Redemption
what a
arc.
great! Absolutely, like you said, Montana,
Rodgers.
Brady, Manning, Favre, Rodgers. Well, no, not Rodgers. We don't want Rodgers. Rodgers is more of like a Doctor Doom kind of story, isn't it? Like it's we want him to be the villain.
What's done in wrestling circles is a heel.
Yes. Well, I mean, Aaron Rodgers even looks like Doctor Doom now with the helmet and the green. Like, you know, he's kind of like being a villain anyway in New York. So we want those quarterbacks, to really, really kind of like over. Lamar had the same thing with his injury. He's come back stronger. He's come back with a purpose. So I'm not saying I want it to happen, but the law of averages say it will happen at some point. Now, if it happens in the playoffs and the Chiefs go down, well, I won't be disappointed. I will be, looking forward to it. But I just think. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I don't want the Bills to. There's a few teams that I don't want to be anywhere near the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs again is one of them.
I mean, we are forgetting that he has had a high ankle sprain, which.
Oh, mate, come on.
No, which impaired his playing, inverted commas, and then he dislocated his knee, and then he was able to still play like 10 days later. So, seriously. But yeah, I mean, he hasn't had an injury that's cost him 6, 7, 8 rest of the weeks of the season. I mean,
Oh,
we're
or
not
like
on the
Brady, a whole season. Like, remember when Brady did his ACL and he was done for the whole year? And the Patriots, like, literally, it knocked you off your momentum for about like 2 seasons where you didn't win the Super Bowl.
I know.
You know,
Trust me,
that the what?
Trust me, I know.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying for like our listeners out there, because like, I mean, we're old enough to remember, and me and you, Hendo, we know our NFL history, but like the babies of the world wouldn't know. You know, and we have to remind them that, you know, it's losing your star number. When you lose the guy, it takes a while for you to come around again. It's not like an instant fix when he comes back in. And but basically, go back onto play. Josh Allen's looking really, really well. He's playing like an MVP caliber player.
Yes.
And I think if he finishes the season, you know, if the Bills finish the season 15-2, I could see him realistically winning the MVP this year.
I think he'll rather forego MVP to win that with Lombardi.
Oh man, so would every, unless your name is Aaron Rodgers, you would, like, you literally would rather win the Super Bowl than the MVP.
Definitely. Mr. Harris.
You mentioned about Mahomes potentially being injured at some point fairly soon, maybe.
There's no potential. There's no potential. I read the tea leaves. I read the tea leaves, Shano. It's gonna happen. The fates have decided.
Okay, so his backup at the moment is Carson Wentz, and we all know how much of a decent quarterback he was, right? As in potentially not anymore.
So like,
well, yeah,
yeah, and he was having a great year. Then he seasoned, and then he got a terrible injury in Philadelphia, and he was never the same. I mean, he won a Super Bowl, but he was never the same.
Point I'm making is, right, when their star quarterback goes down, what happens to the team? We've seen it with Joe Burrow last year. We've seen it with Brady, as you've mentioned. We've seen it with Lamar Jackson as well. We suffered when he didn't play last year. So how do you think the Chiefs would fare without Mahomes?
I don't think they'll struggle as much as some of the other teams are, because Wentz has been around. He knows what he's doing. I think that Andy Reid offense is probably one of the more quarterback-friendly style offenses in the league. And that's not taking it away from Mahomes, because Mahomes is different gravy for what he can do with no left hand. He can do everything. But when you've got the likes of, Kelsey, you've got Xavier Worthy, you've got Pacheco when he's back, Kareem Hunt. You've got some good skill players there, and you've got a good O-line. So I think he would do okay, but he's not Mahomes, so you're not going to get that extra bit of a magical spark from the refs. Sorry, I mean from the team.
I mean, there was a couple of suspect plays yesterday where, did you see that face mask holding one as well? Where the Bills player, it almost went like 180 degrees right in front of the refs, and the refs didn't even call it. I was like, I mean, it's little conspiracies like that. And I know when we've talked before off air, and I know Baby's like a big proponent of, there's no such thing as conspiracies or, referees against certain teams. But like, you look at some of the calls and you go like, that's a little bit too sus for it not to be called. And it makes you feel that sometimes maybe the Shield does have a potential say on, what maybe might get called. I mean, I think, if it looks like it will, it probably will. In terms of, conspiracy, especially in sports and betting and things like that, and all the money that goes into it. But I just think
16 AFC Championship games that New England went. No, sorry. Yeah, there were 16 AFC New England games or championship games that the New England Patriots went to, either home or away. They went to 10 Super Bowls.
Wow. Yeah.
So when you're in that area, that dynasty area, it happened. Things go your way. Very quickly, Shano, Flick has come in and said she'll think they'll be okay without Pat.
I mean, yeah, as I said, speaking of, let's look at say, for argument's sake, he got injured tonight. Perhaps he, I don't know, got out of bed and tripped over something and hurt himself. He's out for the rest of the season.
I had my striker mum on Saturday morning messaging going, he's just jumped out of bed and hurt his leg.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, you've already got a story about, I think it was Manuel Neuer dropped a bottle of aftershave on his foot and broke his foot and completely missed the World Cup. So things
Yeah.
like that do happen, right? Case I'm making is, let's just very quickly go through the rest of the Chiefs games they've got, right? So this Sunday, they've got the Panthers. Come on. Let's be fair. That's going to be a cricket
Let's go
score, probably
Carolina.
better than the Chiefs. Yeah, better than the Chiefs for 100 points on them. And then they roll against the Minshew Mania brother. Boys, that's going to be another Chiefs victory. You know it. Chargers will give them a game because the Chargers have the highest scoring defense in the league. And then they've got the dumpster fire in Cleveland. And then they welcome Houston to Arrowhead. So that'll be interesting. And then they go against those horrible. And then they go against those horrible towel twirling people on Netflix Christmas Day. And then their last game of the season is at Mile High to play Denver. They were lucky to escape. They were with an eyelash losing to Denver last week. So yeah, it's interesting. You know, it's
Chargers and
Steelers
will beat them. Chargers and Steelers will beat them.
And
if you played them today, Chargers and Steelers will win. Hands down, 100%. Talk about Chargers. Let's go to Sunday Night Football, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching this game's highlights. It was superb, and Justin Herbert is looking a complete and utter different quarterback. He rushed for 65 yards. He threw for 297 and a couple of touchdowns. Money Mac missed a couple of kicks, which would have kept them within the chance of winning it for the Cincinnati Bengals. But what a game this was. This was a very enjoyable game. Gentlemen.
Yeah, I saw the highlights this morning. Sorry, go on, Phil. You carry on, bud.
No. I was just going to say, I actually haven't seen the highlights, and I feel really, really bad because it's detriment to our fandom for it. But the Chargers, however, having a very low key good season under the return of Jim Harbaugh, and what he's very good at doing is maximizing the skills of the quarterback that he entrusts. When he came to San Francisco, I mean, people genuinely forget, unless you're part of the faithful, how bad Alex Smith was. He was getting
I remember.
He was getting booed because of how poor he was. Harbaugh comes in and literally we make the NFC Championship game that year. And we were one field goal away from, we lost to the Giants, who went on to win the Super Bowl. But we literally get to the NFC game, and the following year he's having a fantastic season again. He goes down to the concussion. Colin Kaepernick comes in, and Colin Kaepernick's a go. He maximizes that wonderful 18-month period of Colin Kaepernick where we go to 2 NFC Championship games, 1 Super Bowl, and then obviously then he gets run out of town. But he's come into LA, and he's making Justin Herbert look really good. And Justin Herbert has been coasting for quite some time, not necessarily been happy with the management and the coaching that's been happening in LA. But he's literally looking fantastic. And again, Chargers as a whole, low-key having a great season that I don't think enough people are talking about because they're not an established big media name like some of the other talking teams are at the moment. But they're so good.
They're not even the biggest team in LA. Well,
yeah.
I mean, the rookie sensation, Lad McConkey, who, let's not forget, LA Chargers traded with New England for the pick that took Lad McConkey to LA. Thank you very much, New England. I really want to Lad McConkey. 6 catches, 123 yards yesterday, averaging 20 yards a catch. He is
low-key rookie of the season
superb. Yeah, he's having, as you said, a low-key rookie sensation coming forward. Will Disley, former Seattle, he had 4 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown. He's starting to become another top tight end in this league for what Harbaugh doing. Look what he did at Michigan last 2 or 3 years in Michigan. He took the strengths of those players and played that team to it. And teams couldn't stop because he used the strength of those players, what he had, and put a plan week in and week out. And that's why they went to the ACCC Championship, won it. That's why they got to the Rose Bowl once or twice. He knows how to put a team together, knows how to work the strength to the team he's got, and pace for it week in and week out. He is probably one of the favourites for Coach of the Year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay,
Shane.
fine. Yeah.
I didn't say Shane, you just didn't answer me.
I didn't hear you. So, before the season started, I was calling the Chargers Ravens 2.0 because of the amount of ex-Ravens that they've pulled in, right? The likes of J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, and they are currently 7-3, but they've had their bye week. The Ravens are 7-4, haven't had their bye week yet. The Ravens play the Chargers this coming Monday. I keep saying that because I'm excited and scared at the same time. And if we beat the Chargers, they'll go 7-4, same record as us. How scary is that?
It's a very big word, mate. It's a very, very big word. I mean, let's go on what happened this weekend. They'll beat you. If you put it like for this weekend, they'll beat you. I mean, Jim Harbaugh will know how to play. You know, brothers, they're going to know how to play each other. They're going to have to really think outside the boxes. And they both talk to their dad. So that's going to be interesting. Dad, what's saying? Dad, what's Jim been saying? That's going to be really, really interesting.
Yeah.
What's wrong with Cincinnati?
I think Joe and Jamal are on sort of telepathic type thing at the minute. Jamal Chase scored another 2 touchdowns again last night, but they just can't put it together. I don't know, like the whole team as a whole. They're 4-7. They're I would say the laughing stock of our division, but they're not. The Browns are. But this season, I don't know what's going on with them. It's just, I mean, like the kicker missed 2 kicks as well last night. Evan McPherson, he was a bit dodgy as well last night. If he would have made those 2 kicks, they probably would have beat the Chargers. Same story in Baltimore as well. But like I said, the final score was 34-27.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched this game. I watched the game in 40 highlights, and it was such a good. Phil, seriously, go and watch it, man. It was a really, really good game. Proper entertaining game. You know, Justin Herbert, I mean, I've never seen Justin Herbert play so well. He was lights out, best player on the pitch by an absolute mile. I saw a stat where T. Higgins and Jamar Chase in the last 3 games have had over 700 or nearly 700 yards and 6 touchdowns between the 2 of them. Just ridiculous. I mean, who's at fault? Is it Zach? Is it Zach Johnson? Is it the DC, or is it the OC, exactly, or is it something else?
They might be coming towards the end of their cycle. Let's be honest. We're seeing it in San Francisco. I mean, do we not think the same thing? Closing. Yeah, 100%. Do we not see that? Like, you know, I really, really like Joe Burrows, and you know, I love Jamal Chase, and that special partnership that you get between a quarterback and his wide receiver, that is just phenomenal. It can make a bad team look good. Or, you know, if you're Matt Stafford, who's got Megatron to throw to, it's made a career of him.
Or Stafford bashing.
Oh well, I mean, Stafford's just like my dilfer at this point. I'm just going to go after him.
Did you know in Phil's garage he's got a punch bag with a picture of Matt Stafford on it, and every day before school he takes a couple of jabs into it.
He's on the other side of it. Trent Dilfer, isn't it?
No, I took that off when I was up here. I took it off.
Oh, is that on your goal?
Why do you think it took me so long to buy a Lions jersey? Because I didn't want to be associated with Matt Stafford.
Right.
And yeah.
Let's do a quick round of the rest of the scores last night. Let's start with the Lions and 52-6 win over the Jags. So last night, he set franchise records for the most passing or the most scrimmage yards, the most passing yards, the most first downs, and the least amount of yards allowed. So they allowed 170 yards. They had over 600 scrimmage yards. Jared Goff had 465 passing yards, and he had 35 first downs. All of those are franchise records. Doug Peterson's seat is not just hot, it's literally on fire. There's a lot of rumors that he will be gone this week, during that they are the bye into their bye week. who benched Taysom Hill or had him on their bench? Because you're going to regret that. 3 touchdowns, 100+ yards, where the Saints beat the Browns 35-14. Anthony Richardson came back off the bench and led the Colts to 28-27 win over the Jets, which is even funnier. Miami Dolphins have got their mojo back with a 34-19 win over the Las Vegas Raiders. Baldy and the big fella was in Hard Rock Stadium watching that, so they'll probably drop their podcast in the next couple of days.
Yes, they were, yep.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So go and have a listen to that. You've got to feel sorry for Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. A tipped kick hit the crossbar for the third time in 5-6 years that they've literally had a field goal tipped or missed. That would have given them the victory over the Packers, but it didn't. The Packers ran out 2019. At one point, they were 19-6 down. The Packers.
Yeah.
Absolutely shocking. And the Bo Nix hype train is well and truly unrolled as the Broncos absolutely destroyed the Atlanta Falcons in a 38-6 win. And that was probably the performance of the week for me. Performance. Absolutely outstanding. Going to that one. Tonight's game, gentlemen. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to this one. It's one good team playing incredibly bad and one bad team playing worse than normal. Shane?
Thank you. I was going to ask a friend of the show, Flick, to come on and talk about her beloved Cowboys, but she's rather shy. And I don't blame her. The Cowboys are absolutely awful at the minute, and without Dak, they're just getting worse. I mean, it's going to be a case of, will the Texans keep it under 50 points? Probably not. If they are firing on all cylinders and they play anywhere near as good as they did last year, they're going to be 7-4. They have the potential to be one of the best teams in the NFL on their day. And I think they completely blow the Cowboys out. Sorry for my old buddy.
Blake's just come on and said, I'm going to leave now. Dallas are going to struggle. I mean, when your chips are severely down and your back's against the wall and all that, that's normally when you come out fighting. But Mike McCarthy, sorry, whatever his name is.
Mick McCarthy, that would be a turn up.
McCarthy.
I mean, I wouldn't. It'd be the opposite version of Ted Lasso, wouldn't it?
Yes.
He is literally just rounding up his season. He's got 6 games left in Dallas after tonight. He's out. He's not being renewed. I wouldn't be surprised if Jerry Jones removes him before then. Dallas. Yeah, you're a poor team. I mean, you're in that group that is. There's 10 teams, including my Patriots, that are in a bad cycle at the moment and playing incredibly bad or just generally an outright bad football team. And Dallas at the moment shouldn't be with the players they've got, but are downright out bad football team. It's almost like they know that it's Big Mike's last season. They don't give a flying monkeys. That's it. They've got to call it a day. Down tools, get rid of him. Let's have some new blood in there.
Start again next year.
Exactly. Exactly. Gentlemen, do we have anything else to add to tonight's show?
I mean, say one thing.
Go on.
Just say my ACCA came in yesterday, only £14, but a win's a win. I'll take them when they come.
What was that?
Oh, my accumulator came in yesterday. I told you that yesterday.
I missed that one, mate. I saw you said someone cost you one.
No, not this week, but £14 off £1.50. That's enough for a crate, I suppose. Small. Got to take little victories when you can.
Nice. I had a couple of winners at Cheltenham yesterday, so happy days.
Ooh, I bet Baby's had a couple as well, knowing him.
Most
Thursday.
Yes. We will be back on Thursday on your screens as always. This episode is downloadable to your audible devices, Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts from. If you want to talk to us and have any questions, please email the podcast. It's thirdandlongpod@gmail.com. Drop us DMs on our socials. We will endeavour to read them out on the show. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, good night. Have a wonderful evening and stay safe all.